Hello, and welcome. My name's Derek, and I sell physical media on eBay. I make videos about that. This is What's Old Video. Stop the music. So if you're new here, I just put my body on a couple loose hinges when I do that, and then hopefully I can find a song and clip champs that'll match up to my actions. A little behind the scenes trickery. Gotcha. So it almost meets both criteria for a What's Sold video. So I changed that back in spring to where What's Sold videos would be $400 in sales for the day or a $100 item. It's almost $400, and there is a $100 sale in here. I was busy last night. For me, the size of my channel wise and the responses that I can get every once in a while. But I was busy last night responding to a handful of YouTube comments and came back, got up this morning. It's 8:45. Got up at a little bit before 8 and come down, turn on the computer, and there's a whole bunch more I had to get to. So, appreciate the attention. Makes me giddy. But I'm not gonna go. Oh yeah. So the actual stuff, I don't know the total quantity that I had. I could probably count in the picture how many there were here, and there were 6 columns across. There were probably 250. I mean, there were at least 200. I know that by how many. I was grabbing and holding in a hand to grab from the box. So different boxes, and I was just grabbing from the box. Not that many. I was just grabbing like a stack like this, and I know that's 13 to 15 I can grab with my whole hand for the most part. So if I remember that, I was putting probably 4 stacks, probably not even. 1, 2, maybe 3. I mean, the stacks only come up to about here. So if I say 3, then it's 40. Yeah, 240, right? So tentative math is pretty good. Rough. And those are already sorted. So I have a box that is essentially junk. There are some single artists that are in there, but some of those are like low repeat artists of what I have, such low value that they're in this box that otherwise would be. And however, some of those I may have one something else in here, and the stuff I already have listed. But the remaining box is this. And probably this many right here is classical. But there are still other ones in here of duplicate that I have of my own. And then there's a whole other box of burnt. Mainly, I haven't looked at those yet. He said almost all of them burnt. Some of them can be disc only. So I'll take something from that. Or there's artists in that low end stuff that ended up with the initial stack of stuff that was $20 and more, or I needed to look up, and that's going to be the very first stuff. So as I'm going through the first stacks today, I will have this box of the one I just showed, and if there's any of those artists that are in there, I'll just however I do it, and then those will get added for the most part. If it's not really worthwhile to add a $5 CD to a rarer $60 CD, I just won't. I'll get 5 cents for it because it's just going to help sell a rarer CD. But rarer CDs typically don't need a whole lot of help selling. And if you think, I am not a collector, I am a seller. I collect CDs, obviously, to sell them. I'm not a collector, but I would think maybe collector thinking would be that They probably already have a common. If you've got a $70 CD, and if you put one of the most common by that artist right there, I don't know. I'm going to speculate for the sake of this little tangent here. If you add a common to a $70 CD, somebody who is a collector just wants that CD. They didn't give a rat's ass about a $4 CD. They're not going to buy yours. They just want just that one CD. Whatever category it may be. That is my logic. Would you, for whatever it may be, so here's a good example. You're probably just going to go after that 10 millimeter. That's even a bad metaphor too. So if you collect, all right. So I just gave like 4 bad metaphors and just cut them out. If you collect, adding something like that to a higher end, I really don't know because I haven't gone through those CDs completely yet. They're just scanned and stacked. Man, if you collect, you want the specific things. The odds of people going out and finding the high end thing, but then again, there are those people that will collect and they want to buy. Maybe I'm starstruck. My brain's just not working. So I could probably get it to at least start working and looking for some of this stuff because that's what this video is about. D8, NFL Street, case only. And since they really don't show up in regular videos, I don't show it often. So these are, I think the day when I got them. So these are some MK monitors. Miller Crystal, what is it? Crystal? Yeah. Miller and something, MK. They probably called it MK because very, very few people can say the last name right. They're like, nobody's going to remember how to say your name. And they're not going to remember the brand. They're going to say MK Miller, and people are going to know. And then the main drivers, towers, monitors, they have 2 of these. And then I picked up a little amp. So there's one of these speakers right here. There's another one over here on the windowsill. And then I sit about 5 feet from that windowsill. And then the 2 tall monitors. There's one. If I was standing, I could a little more. I could touch that one, and there's another one on the other side of the TV. All right, this NFL Street. That was a fun game too. The first one I remember playing. I don't remember if I played the subsequent ones, but at least the first one I remember. But this is just the artwork and manual only. $15. And this is a Oh shit! Okay, that is right. Shoot. All right, so I saw that as a CD DVD in this box called Shoe, which I named it that. Probably had shoes at one point way when ago. And then I held sunglasses in here, so sunglasses were labeled in box Shoe. So when I looked at this, it's like that was it got me confused because I consolidated boxes, and I'll reuse this box and I'll just relabel what. Do the same thing, just it's labeled Shoe instead of a number. Rolling Stones. There's a couple signed Paul Revere right there. Paul McCartney and Wings. Man, I got a good little collection of Beatles stuff. Sgt. Pepper's, listening to that one. I listened to it growing up. I re-listened to it. I'm like, I don't know why I listened to that so much growing up. It's really not my thing. White Album, Anthology, Magical Mystery Tour, some Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison. There's probably another, maybe, if I add all the good ones, there's probably 30 good Beatles. At least 30 Peter Gabriel, Genesis, and Phil Collins. At least. And there's some good ones in there. On a Rolling Stone. My stone grow on a Rolling Stone. Comes a train. So this is DVD with the slip and all that. $10. Deluxe edition would be like, I don't remember, more. All right, it's Crybaby VHS. Johnny Depp. Clean enough. Clean. Played, but clean. $19. C32 Nat King Cole. So these were two when I was doing inventory. Doing the inventory checking after I do a big sale. So if you're new here, twice a year I run a bigger sale. That's going to be the middle of the year is going to be 6-7% cheaper than what I already have it as. Those fall in sale brackets. I'm not going to explain all this now. And then December 26th, I'll start a sale until a couple days after the beginning of the year. So about 10 days. And most everything I have is going to be in a bracket that's going to have them listed at 10% and a tad less than of what they were listed for the previous roughly 6 months. When that bigger sale is, when either of those are done, I will go and I'll do an inventory calling. I will do all, I guess I am going to explain it. I will look at the listings that are the oldest listed, go to the view counter. If the view counter is 5 for something that's been up for listed, I may have had it for 3 years, but if it's been listed for more than 6 months, and if it has 5 views, 4 depending on the value, I'll take it down. I'll go in, and then all the unsold I'll look at, or delisted or inactive, whatever. Keep changing the name, eBay. And I will copy paste some of the names, some of the titles, so on and so forth, and the current listed and solds. But if I've had it for a long time, I'm going to always refer for that one to go to Terapeak. If I haven't had it for too long, like a year, maybe longer, I can still roughly 90 days sold, but I'll go into Terapeak and kind of really look at the price and gauge. Ultimately, there's going to end up being stuff. You know what? Scratch that. Because then this would be a real long video. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. I had the time for it. Oh, Nat King Cole. 32. Let's see here. These are ones actually that I found when I was doing my calling and inventory checking. I thought it would have been right here. Nat King Cole. They should the same. Oh, I've had them for that long that they're in the middle. All right, these Nat King Coles. Had them for a while. This is the prime example of this. Okay. So these are identical pictures, not the same albums, right? So this is how I will do this a lot of times. So one of these is probably $10-$12. One of these is probably 20 something. Variations within those prices. I'll put the two together. That is a not so common one, and a little more common, but it's not a $6 Nat King Cole CD, right? Put those two together, plus they're kind of in the like type style, plus they're otherwise getting 4 albums for 35 bucks. Either way. So that's how I'll do it. I don't add a lot of like the $5 or $6 or $7 CDs to listings that I have. It's I'll say it's my logic. We'll go with that. It works for me. Someone who has a lot of years in doing things, period, 3 years, and doing something, you picked up some experience. I've been reselling for decades. Physical media is starting 7 years. Spring, it'll be start of 7 years. And over that, the more you do something, the better you get at it, right? So you have ability, skill, and talent. If you can do something, you have an ability. If you can do that something better, more frequently, then you have a skill. If you're better than almost everybody else, then you've got a talent. There's all kinds of little skills that you pick up by doing the same thing over and over again. And there's just little things that I do, little nuances. So I just listed these frames the other day. Usually don't sell frames that quick. I mean, they have before, but... So these are Michael Kors. These frames. So the other thing I sell, that's physical media, sunglasses, eyeglasses, frames, and some oddball, like 1% of all my other sales are anything but the physical media and frames. But these frames, just listen, 63 bucks. That's why I do frames. That's another one of those skills. And these are even sparkly too. Freaking 1988 just fell on those glasses. Kind of, well, 1980 with the sparkles. So a lot of these glasses in here, they're going to be of better brand, better quality. These are Casa de Mars. I don't remember what these ones are exactly listed at. It's a bifocal kind of green frame. So these are, you can get them in sunglass lenses, but they are an eyeglass frame. I don't remember how much they are. 50 bucks, 100 bucks. There's Tom Ford in here somewhere, and those are like 150 bucks. These Monsignors, these Christian Dior, found these in the dumpster. It's broke. The temple part right there is broke. All right. For parts, these are like 50 bucks. If they were not broken, a couple $100. But frames, you're just going to look at, and you can just put your hand on, and you can feel it. And then after a while, that muscle memory of feeling different types of frames and styles and textures and weights and looks. You can look at 50 frames and sunglasses, and there's going to be 6 that are going to get your attention, and you're going to look those 6 up, and you might end up with all 6 could be $50 or more, or one could be a $50 pair. A lot of places have frames and sunglasses, and it's one of those categories. Name me another reseller. Somewhat, if I'm on YouTube, I know that some of the people watching this are probably watch other YouTube resellers on YouTube. I can think of maybe 2 other sellers, and one is one that got me interested in frames like 10 years ago. Name me one who sells these. I can tell you about neckties. I can tell you about a little bit about boots. Not so much shoes. Boots I can. Belt buckles, tie clips, cassette players, CD players, portable electronics, all types of battery-operated doodads, gadgets, and whatchamacallit, freaking all kinds of stuff. I sold in all kinds of categories. And I'd never sold in frames before until I watched some video. It was post pre-COVID. So, I mean, 6, 7 years ago. I was selling frames before I moved up here, so at least 6 years. Anyhow, frames. The Star Trek thing, C-26. So this one I relisted yesterday. It's below the typical threshold, but relisted it. It got 870 for it. It really wasn't listed as like 915 before that. So, but it was, I don't know, remember how I got it, how much I paid, probably 10 cents, 50 cents, a dollar. Even if I paid $1, I still made 50 cents on it. It's gone, and I've got a happy Trekker or Trekkie, depending on. Got to get a book. Got to get a couple books. Actually, the $100 sale is one of these couple books. So you should have that bin where you just saw me reach in at. Is this bin of books was just listed a couple days ago, and it's going to sit in that spot until I really feel like putting 10 books away that don't have a SKU. Oh no, if one of them sells, where am I going to look? Because it doesn't have a SKU, I don't know where it's at. I'm not going to put 15, no, it's more than that. Oh, well, I have sold one other book out of it, but those can stay. I'll wait until I got like 50, 60 books to put away, because that'll take a half an hour. And if they don't have a SKU, unless they're right here, which they would have to be a bigger book. If they can't fit in one of these boxes, it goes down there. And I don't have many bigger books. But this one does sell and will always sell. And this one came in about as low best offer they could. Still made money on it. It's a clean. If you've been watching my YouTube for the almost 2 years I've had it, this is probably the 10th one of these I've sold. Find them all the time. Not all the time. Enough to say it's 10. Close to it. $51. Some of them even tattered. My Book of Bible Stories. Watchtower Tract Society. Bubble envelope for this. $50. The eBay one, you can even buy ones a tad cheaper, but it's not going to get beat up. Believe it or not, packages really don't get beat up. This CD, Willie Neal Johnson. Had that one for a while. Willie Neal Johnson. I ended up with a whole bunch of soul and gospel. Year and a half ago. I was at a Goodwill on Lee Road in Cleveland Heights, maybe. Whatever little area that was. But that Goodwill was closing down. So for the last week, they would do like the last day, some stuff, whatever was left was like 75% off. So I went there at the 50% off day, got some better stuff, and then went back there the next day. And that next day, I probably spent $100. So I don't know, left with 150 CDs or something, and I was paying 60 cents average, whatever it was. So I ended up with a whole lot of things. That's how you get stuff. Take advantage. Willie Neal Johnson Gospel Keynotes. It might be up here. It is. All right, $13. Well, a long story for that. I can't see on. It's under half an hour, so. And the reason the $100 sale, it's Bible, just got. I could see the other Bibles on the rack at the store I was at. I just saw that. I looked up the 606, 606 BG. I don't think something may have come up current, and then I went in Terapeak and they've sold for over $100, so I bought it for $1 or $2. I don't remember where I got it. It's likely in a sourcing video. But this Bible sold within a week for $108. Information down the spine. Give it a look. Leather. I think I did talk about that in the sourcing video because I went pretty, maybe. D12. Car 54. And if you know of Car 54, you just said in your head, where are you? Right there. Car 54. $25. Ilham Mimigruglu. There's going to be one Ilhan Mimigruglu fan watching this. And you just left the video because I said his name wrong. Outstanding warrants. This. $14. So as of now, that's that. I did a little bit of rambling in this one. Yep, the 11. So I'm going to try, if I fill up one of these boxes, they hold 38 to 40, mid-40s in one of these boxes of CDs. I have about that. And then the other picking and things of that I have to do in order to get the higher ones. That little bit of work, that's it for me. It's going to be probably 5 hours. I'll have it in that, and that'll be 1,000 listed. But it's going to take a little more time because I have to do some more like sorting, and that's not too bad for the 5 hours. Say it does end up at $1,000. You take out roughly 30% total for fees and shipping. Yeah, but you're 30%. We'll say that because they're going to be higher value things. But $700 for those 5 hours. I mean, or you could just do it on however it would be, 200, 140. It's still over. That's after fees and shipping. That's still over 100 an hour. If I'm doing 140, it's still over 100, right? And then I've got all the lower end stuff to list. And then, no, that's probably where it'll break down to where my time and money and all that, how it's going to translate, is going to be like $80 an hour for 25, 30 hours a week. That's why I love physical media. It's everywhere. It's cheap. It's easy to work with. And it sells fast. Reminds me of your mom. So that's going to wrap that one up. Like what you heard, like what you saw, like what you learned. Quite a few things in here. Frames. Eyeglass frames, sunglasses. Start looking. If there's stuff that's very easily readable and legible on the temple, on the arm of a brand or something, and especially on the inside, if it's legible, if it's from made in Japan, you can have even rock in Korea, Italy. There's all mainly those ones, and then some England. You get some other different countries, even made in China of good brands. It can still do well, and you can figure that out. But they're so anywhere from usually $1 to $3, and if they're going to sell for $30, is usually my buying point. If they're $1 and if two have sold in Terapeak for $28, I'm not going to bother. It's just one of those decisions, but it's just good to have a whole bunch of $40, $50, $60, $80, $100, $200 pair of frames and sunglasses in boxes, because that little $70 sale will pop up. Be like, yep. Send me thinking going up. Comment down below. Subscribe, share. It's all free. It help me, help you, so we can help other people learn about selling physical media on eBay. Appreciate it. Thank you.